So let's say that you have slept with this guy and you are like, oh my God, how do I play my cards now? So let's talk about what to do after you've slept with him too early, or questioning whether or not you should sleep with him. Welcome back to another episode of Way Too Wifey. I'm your host, respectfully Gabby, and in this podcast, we talk all things dating and relationships in this modern day. And if you are new here, hi, I'm Gabby. I'm an online dating coach where I help you transform your confidence to live your best lives inside and outside of relationships. You guys, it all starts from within. All of the core wounds that you have will end up playing out in your relationship. So if you don't believe that you are enough, if you don't think that you are worthy, you are going to end up attracting people who don't believe that you are worthy or good enough. So let's break the pattern together. My 8-week transformation program is designed for my anxious attachment girlies to break the core wounds so that you can start attracting better into your love life and also keeping better so you don't self-sabotage the relationships that are actually meant to be a blessing in your life. So if you have any questions, if you want to know more about it, hit the link in my bio, book a discovery call with me, and I cannot wait to get started. To be fair, I don't think there's actually a length of time that can pass by to where it's too early, too soon, too late. To be honest with you, I know a lot of really successful relationships that are long-term, happy, healthy, successful, that slept together on their first night or second night of dating. And I also, on the flip side of that, know some relationships that have waited for a couple months, maybe 2-3 months, and they're like, okay, finally, it's time. He made it past the 90 days. I made him chase it. Then you guys sleep together, and then you notice that he has disappeared, or you notice that there's not the same kind of attraction that you thought that there would be, and things just kind of died out, and you're like, I just wasted this past 3 months of my life when I could have just gotten that over with and everything would have been fine. I don't think that there's a right time or a wrong time, to be honest. It's gonna happen when it's gonna happen, if it's gonna happen, but I do think how you play your cards after it happens matters so much more than it happening. So let's talk about it. Ideally, I do think it's better to wait a little bit. That way you know exactly where their intentions lie. You know exactly what you're getting out of it. You can know whether or not you're actually feeling the person, maybe not waiting like months and months and months. I feel like that's almost a waste of time, because if it happens and his intentions were never to date you anyway, then you just slept with this guy for what? You could have just done that early on and he's gonna leave you anyway. If you do it too quickly, then you know his intentions very early on. How a man treats you after you hook up says so much more about how he feels about you than anything. Let me just say, no man is nicer than the man who has not yet slept with you. This is the nicest guy in the world. He will say anything he wants. He will do anything he wants. Make him seem like the best guy in the world. But how he treats you after the fact says everything about how he feels about you. But let's talk about if you've not done it yet and you're questioning whether or not you should first, and then we'll get into if you've already done it. If you're considering doing it or not doing it and it's early on, I want you to ask yourself this question. If you were to sleep with this person, how would you feel if they ghosted you after? Would you be okay with it? And would you move on with your life? Or would you be an anxious, emotional, upset, complete mess, spiraling, don't know what to do with your life? Because if that's the case, and that's how you know you're going to react and attach yourself to this person, maybe it is best to wait. But if you're like, actually, I'm good either way. Obviously, I do like this person. I'm sleeping with them. But if I were to never hear from them again, would I be okay with that? If you know yourself and you know that you're going to be an anxious, attached mess, then maybe waiting a little bit just to see if you both want the same thing. Are you both moving towards the same path? Do you both want commitment? If you don't, let's figure that out early on. That way you're not wasting your time sleeping with someone, then attaching yourself to someone who doesn't want the same things as you. And I do think that men sometimes have to sleep with you in order to know whether or not they like you or not. The right man's okay with waiting. The wrong man's also okay with waiting, though. Be careful. But how to know if this man is just using you for intimacy or if he actually genuinely has intentions? I think there's so many ways you can tell, to be honest. I think one, you can straight up ask, but I don't think in every case, someone's going to be so serious and real about the answer. I recently within the last couple of weeks, went on a date with this guy. And the date was good. It wasn't great. It was good though. We're talking about life and he was telling me about everything. He's like, wow, I've never really opened up to someone like this. Like, this feels so comfortable. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's what I do for a living, babe. Was telling me about himself. And he's like, why don't you tell me about yourself? And I was like, he's like, why haven't you told me about yourself? Like, why are you holding all your cards back? I'm like, I'm literally sitting here. Every time I begin to talk about myself, by the way, football or soccer game, wherever you're from, it was a soccer match that was playing on TV that was at the Shisha Lounge, and it was his team. So as I was beginning to talk about myself, every time I would bring up something serious or I'm just talking about myself in general, he would get distracted by the game. And I'm like, why would I talk about myself and open up vulnerably with you when it's clear that you don't care that much? If they're not intentionally getting to know you and want to know more about you, it's probably a pretty good intention that they just want one thing. He kept getting distracted with the game, and I'm like, and he's like, why don't you talk about yourself? And I'm like, well, you're not really asking me very many questions. And I think he got the picture because he started asking questions, but it felt forced in the sense that I could tell, like, every time he did ask a question, every time I would answer, he immediately would get distracted or wasn't fully paying attention, or he's like, okay, that's it. Like, that's the only story you have for me. I'm like, what do you want from me? Like, what do you actually want? So anyway, the date was okay. I would have probably seen him again. It wasn't all bad, but we had texted the following couple of days. At one point he texted me and he's like, I have been going out a lot to eat and, you know, I just want to do something chill. It's like every single night I'm out to eat. And I'm like, okay, what does that have to do with me? Like, you have to eat food anyway. You're going to be going out to eat anyway. What does that have to do with me? I'm like, either he can't afford it or he just doesn't have the intentions of wanting to get to know me. And that's in neither, in which case, like, then if you're not investing in me, then why would I invest in you? But also I was like, okay, we can do something chill. It doesn't have to be, we have to go get food, but cool to do something chill. He's like, well, how do you feel about the movies? Actually, I'm not really a movies person. That's one date. And I'm like, very early on, I don't like going to the movies because you're not talking, you're not getting to know that person. What are we watching a movie for? I'm more of a chatter. I want to get to know you. I want to, like, see if this can grow into something. So the movies for me very early on is just not the move. If I'm going to the movies with someone, I actually know them and we've been out on multiple dates to where I feel comfortable enough to not talk sitting there in each other's presence. Okay, that is the only time that I'm cool with going on a movie date. And then I realized that he didn't mean going to the movies. He literally meant like a Netflix and chill situation. No, we're not doing this. So I was like, honestly, like, I don't go over anyone's house. That's not my vibe early on. We can go out, we can do something chill. We don't have to get food. If not, then we can wait until you are more in the mood to do that. And he's like, okay, then yeah, like, let's wait. I'll have a little bit more energy in me. I was like, yeah, let's be honest with each other. I mean, like, we're both adults. I feel like we have been pretty transparent to this point. Like, are you only looking for a hookup? Meanwhile, in the back of my head, I'm like, he probably is, because he just moved here. And then he's like, why would you even think that about me? What impression did I give off that that's what you would think about me? I've just been going out so much that, like, I want to stay in one night. A man invests where he sees value. If he doesn't see value in you, he's going to take you back to his house and that's it. If he doesn't want to invest in you, if money's the issue, fine. We can do something that's low budget, but still actually do something. If it's that the fact that you just want sex, like, it's one or the other. There's no other, like, oh, he just wants to feel comfortable. And I was like, yeah, I don't really go over to people's houses. And to be honest with you, I'm celibate. So, like, what do you want out of this? And he's like, well, I'm confused why you even got that impression of me. Like, put it back on me. Like, why would you even think that about me? And then I was like, wait, why would I think about that about him? I'm like, maybe I am in the wrong here. And that's the thing with these men. They love painting the picture back on you to, like, why would you even think that about me? Why would you even assume that? But as soon as we had this conversation, that was the last conversation we had. Never heard from him again. It's been weeks now. And I'm like, honestly, never going to hear from him again. I don't care to hear from him again. But it's also funny that he painted it back on me and was like, why would you think that I was the one who wanted to hook up with you? I can get that anywhere. I'm like, oh, okay, well, like, then why won't you take me on a date? I'm not an idiot. I wasn't born yesterday. It is very evident when that's the only thing that they want. They can call it whatever they want, but if he's only inviting you over to his house and he doesn't want to do anything else with you, it's very evident what he's looking for, okay? Once he gets you inside the house, it is so much easier to, oh, well, you know, it just happened. It just happened. You came over, it just happened. Life is fine. I didn't mean for it to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen. Bullshit. We were not born yesterday. let's get real about what we want. That's, I think, a way that you can tell if he's not being intentional, if he's not actually interested in you and getting to know you as a person. I think it's probably a pretty good sign that he's not that serious about you. I do think, though, that some guys don't really know that they like you until they slept with you. If you've already done it and he is still reaching out, it's a pretty good sign. That's a pretty good sign that he likes you, or at least enough to want to continue things. Whether or not he actually wants a relationship or just wants to continue to have his cake and eat it too, that's what we need to get clear on. Because if you're looking for a relationship after this, you need to get clear about what you want so that you can see whether or not he's on the same page. Realistically, you should be asking those questions before you sleep together, but if you've already done it, get clear very early on, or you're going to end up in a situationship. But I do think how you play your cards after you sleep together means everything. To be honest, I don't even reach out after. Let them lead. If he wants to, he will. So if he's reaching out after, it's a really good sign that he likes you, he enjoyed his time, and he's probably thinking, well, did she enjoy her time? Why didn't she reach out? Why is she so quiet? I thought I, at this point, would have some kind of buy-in from her. So let him question whether or not you even care. When you do reach back out, don't overpour your emotions like, oh my God, I don't usually do this so early. I'm sorry, I didn't realize. No, because that's coming off as insecure. You're emotionally invested way too heavy, way too hard, way too fast. He's gonna be like, honestly, I don't believe her, because the only people that really say that are the people that do this super early on. And whether or not that's the truth, it is what it is, but that's typically what they're going to think. Be confident in what you did after the fact. Be like, oh yeah, like I had a good time with you, would love to see you again. And if he's only inviting you back to his house or wants to come over to your house, probably a good sign that he only wants to hook up with you. But if he's actually inviting you on dates after the fact, very good sign that he might want something more. But again, you need to get on the same page. But I think a good way, if he's only asking you over his house or over to your house, I think a really good text that you can send is like, hey, I had a really good time with you. Would love to continue to get to know you. How about we do it outside of the house this time? Or like send a winky face or something like that. Just to keep it light. You're not overbearing. You're not overly emotional. It's just, hey, this is where I stand. He has a problem with it. Very good sign that he doesn't want anything serious with you. But don't panic. Don't start to freak out. Don't go into an emotional spiral. Don't over-attach yourself to him, because it's going to stress him out. Men care more about the emotional attachment that comes after it than sleeping with you too soon. When you invest emotionally way too quickly, it's scary a lot, it's intense, and you're going to end up scaring away someone that could potentially have wanted something with you, but you're overly emotional and it's like, okay, if this is what I have to deal with now, it's only gonna get worse if we continue doing this, so let me just fall all the way back. Sometimes it's not about him not wanting that with you, but it's about how you're reacting after the fact. So if you act confident, act like, yeah, who cares? Like whatever, it is what it is, it happened, we can move on from our lives now. This is what I'm looking for, what are you looking for? If you move with confidence, you're gonna have so much better of a chance to actually get the guy than if you were to emotionally spiral after it happened. How you play your cards matters. It doesn't matter when you sleep together. What actually matters is the emotional investment. So if you know that you're going to be emotionally invested after you guys sleep together, maybe hold off, maybe make sure you're on the same page before. But if you're like, whatever, it is what it is, I'm good, life will go on. If he ghosts me tomorrow, it's not gonna be the end of the world. Life will continue to move on. If that's the energy you have, then by all means, do whatever you want on your timeline. Let it play out. There is no right or wrong time to sleep with someone or not. And the right man doesn't also care. The last person that I hooked up with, we literally had a conversation. He's like, my longest relationship, we hooked up on the first date. It moved very quickly, yes, but it literally does not matter. But how you move after it happens matters. Move with confidence. And that is it for this week's episode. If you have any questions, again, hit the link in my bio, book a discovery call with me, or just book a call with me. Leave the thumbs up, hit the 5-star rating, and turn on your bell notifications. And I will see you all next Tuesday.